Hey everyone, welcome to another video about an update for my Magic Kingdom build. So the last video I put out I think was quite some time ago, and I've had a bit of time to do quite a lot of work actually, and I am very close to being broadly finished. There's a lot of rides that are missing, but I'm talking about the buildings and the path layout and that sort of thing. I am getting very close to finishing, which I am super pleased about. So let me show you what I've been doing. So we'll look at an aerial view so you can see what I've been doing. So obviously Tomorrowland there on the right is finished, or at least all of it up until the point where it interacts with Fantasyland and around the back of the Tomorrowland Speedway. So let's go in for a closer look and have a little look around. So again, with as I mentioned in previous videos, I've been using Google Satellite View and Street View, and so there is a bit of a mix-up in that the Satellite View and the Street View are often not from the same time, and so any changes within the park might appear on one and not the other, which makes it quite difficult when you're trying to look from an overhead view at the sort of layout and the angle of buildings, and then you look on Street View and it's something different or a different building. It makes it quite difficult at times. So there may well be a mishmash of different styles, old and new, but that's what I saw and that's what I've made. So yeah, first off is the this entrance archway for Tomorrowland, which I really like actually. I much prefer it to the old style one with the sort of globe and the rings and things. I think this one looks much cleaner and much nicer. And I understand as well that in the new Tomorrowland, these sort of fins on the People Mover have been removed, and so it's just like basically the default ones that come with the Planet Coaster People Mover ride. Those are the supports that are used nowadays, but like I say, what I saw when I was building it was it like this, and so that's what we've got. So as you can see, I've put some sort of designs into the path, and I'll continue that basically all the way along this sort of main bit of Tomorrowland, but my main focus was just to sort of get as much done as I can. So moving around here, now I'm not too sure what's supposed to be in those doors. I know that's some kind of Buzz Lightyear thing I think in there, but around here it's just there's a lot of open areas it seems in Tomorrowland, and the Carousel of Progress, again, it's an empty building just at the minute. I haven't done a ride or an interior for it because this park is huge and my computer is quite decent and it's already struggling, so I think I'll leave the interior until afterwards, and then if I've got some spare capacity in the computer, then I might think about doing some kind of interiors. But yeah, there it is, the Carousel of Progress, and the People Mover. Let me put it on test so you can see it whizzing its way around, if I can get hold of it, which I can't seem to. Here we go. So it does go around. Now, the eagle-eyed amongst you may notice that the People Mover is going the wrong way. Yeah, I only realised that once I'd finished doing the route for it, and I can't for the life of me figure out how to reverse it without relaying the whole track. So if anybody knows how to do that, then please let me know, because it's really bugging me that it's going the wrong way. Speaking of the People Mover, now in the middle here would be the People Mover station, which I do have. And obviously I need to do quite a bit of work on this sort of Astro Orbiter section, because obviously the People Mover station in real life goes round in a circle, but we don't have that capability. So I'm going to dress it up to look a bit nicer, and that's probably about it. Going around this way, there's some kind of stage, which on the Street View had signs up for the Incredible Super Dance Party, which is what I've put there. Crumbs, here we go. Autosave, that'd be another about 2 or 3 minutes worth of waiting. I'm just too afraid to turn the autosave off in case it crashes, because I do keep getting this thing. I don't know if anybody else with Planet Coaster at the minute gets this as well, but Every maybe once or twice every few hours or so, the game will just crash the desktop and it will come up with a little text box that says Planet Coaster has crashed. Do you want to end the game now? And if you click no, nothing happens. Like the game just loads back up and it's fine exactly where you were. You don't lose anything. So I don't know if anybody else is getting that, but that's kind of annoying. Behind there we've got these restrooms which need a bit more sort of, I mean the whole of Tomorrowland needs like benches and bins and all of those sorts of things, but the main part of it's done. Now Space Mountain, yes. I had a real fun making this building, which is the like power build, I can't remember what they call it, Tomorrowland Power and Energy or something like that. I had fun making that building, that was fun. Space Mountain, not so much. It's empty, there's nothing in there, and the the people mover just kind of comes in and goes around and back out again. But that took quite some time to build. But I do quite like making these round buildings, because you can just sort of make a section of it, copy it, and then just go round and round and round, and it kind of works out quite nice. So yeah, that is the Space Mountain. So heading back into Tomorrowland proper. Now, these like in the real park, these are some kind of metal palm trees that react to the sunlight, I believe. But yeah, I got real ones here. And these little cafe kind of kiosk thingies. And all of these buildings. Again, inside them it's just empty. And the people mover just goes in and comes back out, and it's just an empty building, so I will get round to that. Again, this bit here all goes round, and this is Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe, I believe. Which I mean, this whole complex of buildings that looks as if it's all one building, I was really pleased with that, because one of the bits when I was making Adventureland was the sort of spine of buildings that goes all the way through. It's all one building, but from normal person height it looks like lots of different buildings, and I think that's a really cool effect that Disney are able to do, and I'm pretty pleased with how it's turned out for me here. It's a lot of art shapes, good grief, like you wouldn't believe the amount of art shapes involved in the whole of Tomorrowland. It's just outrageous. I mean, Space Mountain, Carousel of Progress, they are all art shapes. There is no wall pieces at all involved in that. It's a lot of work. So the Tomorrowland Speedway, again, I had conflicting sort of images of this. I think it may have undergone some kind of refurbishment recently, but this was what I could find was, I think, the latest, how it looks now, or mostly looks now anyhow. And I tried my best to do this sort of backstage kind of parking area for the go-karts, which I think looks quite good. And this sort of, all the steps and things, obviously it's all not usable, but I think it looks quite good, and helps to make it look more real, like what it should look like. And the course, yeah, so as we move on towards Fantasyland, one of the problems that I have encountered is, so I started off, when I first did the park, I did Main Street, the Central Plaza, the castle, and then Fantasyland round to Liberty Square. That was the first part of Magic Kingdom that I built, which was fine, and it's all good, and that's like the oldest part of the park for me as having made it. But I had some issues when I started going into Adventureland, where I had put the paths down. The angles were not correct, and I think I made the central sort of hub a bit too big, which created some problems. So I had to kind of, as I went, I've had to adjust everything else in the map so that it fits in and lines up as best that it can. And of course the problem being, now I've gone all the way round, the only bit left to do was this sort of top corner of Fantasyland, and I already had, like, if you remember from previous videos, the bit with Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, the Little Mermaid ride, the whatever, I can't remember what, the tavern thing up in the corner next to the Little Mermaid, and the restaurant next to it with the miniature castle on top. I had all that already, and it was all placed and it looked great. However, having put Tomorrowland in, I was like, oh crap, it's ages away, and the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train that I had already was way too small, and it just didn't link up. I would have had so much open areas and huge paths where there were not huge paths, that I have basically had to remake entirely Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which I did yesterday and took all day yesterday. So I had to redo the whole layout of the roller coaster itself, and I tried to make it a bit better as well, because the previous one was very slow and the ratings were terrible, which I'm not too worried about. But when I get to the point where I can actually open the park for guests, I do want people to want to ride it. So I've made it a bit different, which is why it's a lot more sunken into the ground here on this end, where in real life it's not. Was just to give up a bit more speed for it as it goes around the course. And as you can see, there's a lot of rocks that I've placed, a lot of terraforming as well. And terraforming was one of those things where when I first started with Planet Coaster, I used to hate terraforming and didn't want to do any of it. But do you know what? I've got to grips with it now, and it's no big deal. Like, I quite enjoy a bit of terraforming actually. The underground sort of dark ride section of Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is empty for the time being. I'll get around to that once I've finished. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how I managed to do that, to be fair. It works out quite well. And so these buildings I've just kind of placed, and as you can see, I've put painted the terrain where I've sort of wanted these things to be, and looking at where they should be in relation to where they are in real life. So I'm basically just filling in the gaps now and adjusting, because everything's a bit bigger. Especially with the Little Mermaid here, I might need to modify it slightly, just to make it a bit bigger. You can see this bit here, I've just sort of copied and pasted the rocks to fill in the gap. And this bit on the back of Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, excuse me, I think I'll make those buildings a little bigger, because now the mine train is a bit bigger and a lot taller as well than it was before. But now where I'm at now is this Storybook Circus area. And again, because everything's a little bit off, like I realised that the Dumbo ride in reality is not up there. It's kind of nestled between these parts of the track of the speedway. However, because of the issues that I've mentioned, I've kind of had to shunt it all the way up there. But I think I will make a new skin for Dumbo, because I'm not really pleased with how this one looks, to be honest. I can do a lot better now. I must have made that over a year ago, and I think my building skill has got a lot better now, so I'll do a better version, and maybe a little bit bigger, and I'll make the skin bigger so it will take up more space and won't look as unnatural, because all of this gap here should not be there. This is my attempt at the Goofy Barnstormer roller coaster, which is nice and small, and yeah, it's just a small little kiddie coaster really, and that's generally the area where it will sit. I obviously need to do all the scenery and theming for it. These some kind of big top shop or something, circus shop, which is just there again, empty, and then there's a smaller one behind it which is a bit red. Then there's like another two there that will go here, and the station, this is my old Fantasyland station, which I've adjusted because previously it was elevated. I had it elevated, but instead I've just kept the train tracks on the ground, all the way from Space Mountain round, and then they climb again to go around the back of the top end of the park. So yeah, this is where I am. As you can see, like the only bits really I've got to do is just finishing off and polishing off this top corner of Fantasyland, and yeah, I honestly, I reckon what's it now as I film this, it's end of February. I reckon by the end of March, around May maybe, April, then I might be somewhere close to finishing and putting it up on the Steam Workshop, which I really can't wait to do, because this whole project has taken, gosh, well over a year, which might be quite sad, I suppose, but I've really enjoyed making it. It's how I've spent a lot of my spare time, and I've really enjoyed it. I can't wait to let people have a look at it, and especially people who've been to Magic Kingdom, because I went once, probably around 15-20 years ago. I don't remember, I was a child. So people who've been to Magic Kingdom or who go regularly, I really love those people to have a look around and and hopefully recognize the places, you know. And feedback as well. I want some feedback from people who go regularly to tell me, you know, what bits are like, what bits need changing, and etc. So yeah, great, into another autosave. But that's where we are basically with the Magic Kingdom so far. Almost everything has been built by me. There is a couple of buildings which are not mine. The Casey Junior train, that's not mine. There's one Main Street building I think is not mine, and a couple of others as well, but most of it is mine. I have used quite a few bits from the Theme Makers Toolkit, which has been really helpful. But yeah, I mean, any comments, please do tell me. Any suggestions on how I can make it more faithful, please do let me know, because I really want to know. Like I say, I'm in England. I haven't been to Magic Kingdom. I haven't been to any Disney parks for a very, very long time. So yeah, any feedback much appreciated. And I'll finish this video with one of my favourite views, which is just of the whole park from out the front. So thanks very much for watching, and please leave a comment below. Thank you.